First and foremost, there's a drive.
Yeah.
There's an internal drive to be great, which you can't teach, you can't coach that. He has that. There was never any point during the season last year where you could say our team didn't show up to play. I'm proud of that. That's a testament to the type of people we have, and it's been maybe the coolest thing that I'll probably ever get to do in my coaching career is be able to go work with him every day. The night before the game, he went out with all the DLine to dinner, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how many quarterbacks do that.
That's big.
But Cam's got that ability.
I'm going to go see that sled in a couple minutes.
I can't wait. Are you going to film it? Are you going to film
Yeah,
it?
we're going to film it. We'll send it to you.
I can't wait.
All right, so another head coach, another head ball coach on the Green Light Pod. This is Brian Callahan, and obviously part of a football family. We have that in common.
Yeah.
The only thing for me is I never got to actually say, "Hey, Dad, you're working for me." That's the first thing I want to talk about is what's it like, pragmatically for you being like, who's the best O-line mind I could find? Well, I just called Dad.
Yeah, and he just shows up.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was cool. It was, we had a couple of conversations in the previous hiring cycle about potentially working together. If something worked out, I'd interviewed for 2 or 3 jobs. And that go round, he was like, I just don't think it's the right thing. I don't think it's right for me or for you. I want you to have your own thing. So I went to the next cycle and fortunate enough to interview a few more times. And everyone would always ask me, your dad, and I was like, no, really. I mean, we've kind of talked about it. It's not happening. Yeah. And then I end up getting the job here in Tennessee, and I called him, and I was like, well, how about now? Now that it's real, what do you think? Would you be interested? And he was like, I don't know. He was really happy in Cleveland. He loved working for Kevin. He liked his line there and everything. Yeah. And he's like, I'll think about it. I was like, oh, okay.
That's cool, Dad.
Yeah, but I think it was all for the right reasons, and I'm glad we had to hash it out. And then he decided that he'd like to come here and make it work. And it's been maybe the coolest thing that I'll probably ever get to do in my coaching career is be able to go to work with him every day.
Such a special thing. I mean, that's just really cool. And I love the quote I heard him say, or maybe it was you relaying it, that he said, "What if you don't like my coaching style?"
Yeah,
I
mean, it was a real thing. What if? He's like, I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
And he's, what if I'm not your cup of tea? What if we don't get along? And and then the reality of it is like, what if you have to fire me? I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna have to.
It's great.
I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen.
Hell yeah.
But it was, but they're all things that you have to work through and talk about. And we just kind of came to the conclusion that why not? What's because we get along so well. We communicate well together. It's been so much fun to be able to see him work on a daily basis. I'd never worked with my dad prior, in my coaching career. And so to be able to see that and see him in action, I've obviously known, and I've seen him when I was younger, but I've never got to see him do what he does so well. And that's been really awesome.
Yeah.
Just as a son, to see your dad do his thing, that's pretty sweet.
Well, yeah, like I remember being a kid and going to like Raiders training camp and like you got the canned Gatorade, which was like my favorite thing, the Gatorade in the actual
It's like
can.
a treat.
Oh, yeah.
It's a delicacy.
And there were awesome things about going to camp, but like the coolest part was seeing your dad work.
Yep.
But I was at an age where I couldn't appreciate it. And you get this, this cool opportunity, I guess. So
it's been a dream come true as far as just father-son, professional relationship, all that stuff has been as good as I could ever.
I want to see Olga and Bertha, the 2 sleds. Can you tell me about those sleds?
Yeah.
I'm going to go outside and
you want to try it?
I'm going to try to move them. I had Mike Waffle, and he was a big Bill guy, and he had his sled. He named his sled. So explain to the people at home the challenges that Olga and Bertha create for offensive linemen.
So he developed this sled that that was based more on leverage and your fit on the person.
Yeah.
And so if you just do like the old sleds, if you try to pick it up off the ground and drive it, it'll tip and you won't be able to drive it.
Yep.
So you have to be able to have the right positioning, the right body, and you got to really squeeze your elbows in and clamp on it and drive it, and you got to be able to hold that.
Yeah.
But if you don't get it off the ground at the right angle, it won't move.
Yeah.
And if you do get it too high off the ground, it tips. And so it's got to be like perfect positioning for a drive block.
What do y'all think? Y'all think I can do it?
I think we would go viral if all of us tried it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna try. We might try it in a little bit.
Those, be careful. Those And when it drops back down,
I don't think I can sue you guys.
It's on you.
I think it's on me. I think I have to sign a waiver. Because there's a lot of excitement around this team, and in my opinion, it starts with, you turn the page, you got a new quarterback, and obviously one that, yourself and the GM are excited about. And I kind of wonder, like, I didn't ask Jeffrey about this because I think he's tired because it was blown out of proportion, but the fiery exchange between two fishing buddies.
Yeah.
Like, as a coach, you were at joint practice, I think, when Penix got into a brawl.
Yeah.
And you're seeing your guy kind of go back and forth with the biggest, baddest man on the roster. There's got to be at least a little part of you that's like, oh, this is kind of exciting. But a lot of you is probably like 70% is probably like, hey, don't poke that bear.
Probably more the latter. Yeah. I do appreciate the enthusiasm. Cam doesn't back down.
Yeah.
He is not afraid, which is good. He also hasn't seen Jeff trying to actually tackle him.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Deal.
It's a different.
Yeah.
But the competitiveness between those two has been great, and Jeff really does function. He's like a big brother to Cam. He puts his arm around him and tries to help him, and has been the veteran presence you hope your quarterback has, and help him ingrain himself in the locker room and help him get to know the defensive guys. That's another important piece of it, is that he's got to be able to reach across the aisle, and not just be the offensive guys. And he actually went to dinner on the road when we were out in Atlanta the night before the game. He went out with all the DLine to dinner,
Yeah.
I don't know how many quarterbacks do that.
That's big.
But Cam's got that ability, and because of Jeff, it makes it easier. But, man, they are two high-level alpha competitors, and, sometimes one doesn't like it when the other says
one
something.
alpha's just a little bigger.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard for the smaller alphas sometimes to recognize that. The throw the other night, man, and catching up on a little preseason tape, the one that you'd like to see Van catch the ball, but like when you're in that meeting room, there's probably like 10% of y'all that's like, hey, I'd like to see Van catch the ball. The other 90's probably like, damn, look at that throw.
Yeah, it was really impressive.
It's like,
and you can nitpick the throw, and you'd love to see maybe a little bit more air on it, so Van could go get it, because it was it was hot. Cam could throw a hot ball occasionally, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
But it was just a misfire. But I think he's learned from those. But certainly you look at the throw and the placement and all those things, and it's a high level NFL throw, and those are always exciting. It was an exciting incompletion if there's ever.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm looking at him like, okay, like, and I've heard y'all talk about this, like his ability to throw people open, like his vision.
Yeah.
You've been around some great quarterbacks.
I've been lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what are the things that you see in Cam that you're like, aha, like I've seen that from this guy or that guy?
I think first and foremost, there's a drive.
Yeah.
There's an internal drive to be great, which you can't teach, you can't coach that. That's what he has, that, and that ability to translate that into work and learning and performance, I think, is really what separates guys in this league. Everyone's got talent, but his drive to be good is intense, and I think that you have to have that. The other part of it is his spatial awareness. He's got this really unique ability to just feel space in defenses, which is what really piqued my interest early on in the evaluation process, is that he just found open players and just knew where they were on the field. And you could see him even in college manipulate some space underneath with his eyes, and that's pretty advanced for a young player. And he's grown even in that regard since he's been here. But the ability to see space and process fast. That is, along with having the talent, but that ability mentally to see and feel and then know what's happening is really what he shares with some of the really good players I've had a chance to be around. And that's a really good thing early on, to see a guy that can see that things happening.
Absolutely.
And do it really quickly.
I thought one of the things Joe was so good at as a rusher, I'm always looking at like how guys move in the pocket. And I was just always so impressed with the way he kept his eyes downfield. You know what I mean?
Cam does the same thing.
Yeah.
Cam is always looking for a big throw, and that's a really good quality to have. He's never worried about the rush. He doesn't worry about being able to escape. And one of the things Joe used to make a big thing about all the time is that a free guy's never going to bring him down. He goes, I've never been sacked by a free player.
Yeah.
I've always been able to make that player miss.
Yep.
And there was a confidence in that. Now, whether that's true or not, you can verify
you have to run the tape back.
You have to run it back and prove it. But that was just his mindset.
Yeah.
And Cam's got that mindset too, where he feels like I can move and manipulate the pocket. I'm not worried about what's happening. I'm trying to dagger the ball down the field, and that's a cool mindset to have as a quarterback.
Because you were, again, back to Cincy for a second. You had Lou Anarumo as your practice mate, right? And
yeah.
I always am interested in the relationship between the guy on offense and the guy on defense, and when you're structuring your practices. And now you got Denard, who I've known for a while, and he's a fiery dude.
He's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, y'all get in these situations where you want something out of practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Lou threw the kitchen sink at y'all sometimes.
Always.
Like, so, yeah, maybe not sometimes, always.
Yeah.
But, like, what's the conversation like, hey, I need this period to work on some things, or, hey, bring it on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, does it change because you have a young quarterback and you do have a more condensed runway to get the learning curve?
I think that's been the fun part about this process is I've tried to make practice, especially early on, I tried to make practice on Cam as hard as humanly possible. From pressure, and Denard's got every pressure in the book.
Yeah.
And there's days where I just want to look over at him and flip him a bird, and I just he's making this hard on me today.
Yeah.
But that's by design, and I think that's really helped Cam accelerate the learning process, where it's constant conversation about fronts and pressures and answers and issues, and him knowing, because that's the game in the NFL. Is can you produce when everyone knows you got to throw it, and on 3rd and 8, can you convert it when you got to have it? And you're going to see some heavy artillery sometimes, and we're going to see it in Week 1 against Denver, and it's going to come up against Lou in Indianapolis. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's life in the NFL for a quarterback. So having Denard's system has been really beneficial because of the multiplicity of it, the pressure packages, and we've made it intentionally incredibly hard on Cam. A lot of 3rd down periods where it's just, it's like pressure after pressure after pressure. Now, that's not what the game feels like.
Right.
You get a chance to take – you may get 3 of those pressures in a game, maybe, but you're going to face 7 of them in a row in practice.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and it's all different looks. So very intentionally done that way, and Denard's got that aggressive style and the multiplicity and the coverage structure, the disguises. I think that's really helped accelerate Cam's learning process and getting comfortable with what he has to do as an NFL quarterback.
Absolutely.
It's been great. So, and then as we've gotten in camp, it might be a conversation. I might ask Denard, hey, I need to make sure I see this coverage against this route so Cam can see it.
Right.
And Denard likes it because then you get a chance to see the coverage beater. Hey, here's a couple things that are going to stress the coverage today. We know that we're going to get them. So I'm not worried about winning or losing the rep. It's more about
it's a learning experience.
Learning how they're going to attack this coverage. So I got a great working relationship with Denard, and he understands what we're trying to get done from an offensive perspective, and I love what he does defensively too. So I think we're all better for it.
How do you fit when you hear a coach say we fit the system to the personnel? Mm-hmm. And I wonder what the calculus is when you walk in the building specifically with the run game. Yeah. What style of running football team you're going to be.
Yeah.
Do you base that on your offensive linemen? Do you base it on the back? Is it some combination, or does the way you get into your passing game off of that factor in a lot?
I think it all factors in.
Yeah.
First and foremost is what's your strength up front? Are you more athletic? Are you bigger and more powerful? What are we going to be?
Yeah.
And obviously with Zeitler and Lloyd and JC, I mean, we're big.
There's some big dudes on that front.
We're a big and strong offensive front at the moment. And, my dad's always been a very heavy gap scheme.
Yeah.
Duo and gap scheme, but he's also an expert in that kind of mid-zone game that we do. So we're pretty multiple in the run game, I think. We were multiple last year to varying degrees of success. But we got a center like Lloyd that's athletic and he can pull. We got a power side with JC and Zeitler. I think Pete's a really good puller as well. So all those gap scheme variations and all the things off of it, I mean, we have every run you could possibly put in.
Yeah.
But I think they do a really good job of teaching it.
Yeah.
My dad and his crew are the offensive line guys. Jonesy and Scotty, they really do a good job with that group. And we'll lean into the things as we get that group gelling closer here and into the season. You start to lean on what you're really good at. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna do a little bit of everything, which is good, and it helps the play action game on top of it.
No question. Mm-hmm. And JC switching to right, it's certainly not a demotion in my eyes. It's like hey, go do what you're comfortable doing. Because, I was a left end, and when they put me on the right, it felt like I was, playing with my offhand.
Yeah.
It's that different for some guys, and I think it probably just worked out with Dan. But, how did that conversation go? And then And then how does JC look out there at right tackle?
First and foremost, really what happened to JC is, he goes from right to left. He played pretty good at left tackle. He did not have a bad season by any stretch. He's very capable of being a left tackle.
Yeah.
He got a little bit overweight as the second half of the season went along. I think he learned as a rookie that what do I want to look like, and I think he was self-admittedly embarrassed by how he finished the season, and so he lost a ton of weight. He lost probably 25 to 30 pounds.
Wow.
Over the course of the offseason.
It's impressive. In Nashville, live in Nashville and lose weight. Simmons did the same thing, he said.
Yeah. JC's been super disciplined.
Yeah.
He knows what kind of pro he wants to be, and he's really grown up, which has been fun to watch, that maturation process. And I told him at the end of the year, look, we're going to try to improve our line to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And that could involve you moving to the right side.
Right.
I don't think it really mattered to him.
Right.
If he did or he didn't. I just know he is more comfortable on the right. He's looked really good over the course of the preseason. You could just tell the comfort of being in that right-handed stance, and being on the right side is just more natural to him. And so when we had a chance to bring in Dan, who's only played left tackle, it was an easy switch. So really we felt like we improved two positions in the same time. At once, without having to sign two players. And at the end of the day, most guys, the reality of it is they just want to make sure they get paid accordingly, right?
Yeah.
You get moved from a left tackle to a right tackle. They just want to make sure that,
right.
But anymore, all tackles get paid.
Well, so nowadays, like some of the best tackles on the planet, well, in my opinion, Lane's my buddy, but I think it's hard to find anybody who's been better than him over a 5-year stretch. And, a lot of the best rushers are rushing on the left and that sort of thing. Like when we were younger, it was like, hey, you're left tackle and you're right end. And that's the battle.
But now it's really everyone's got two rushers and you need two tackles.
That's exactly. And a lot of teams. And now it's like, hey, you need three rushers.
Yeah.
So when it comes to rushers, man, like, what do you think the easiest way to affect a rusher is? Is it the run game? Is it chips? Is it varying the chip looks? Like,
I think it's all of it. Everything in the run game is there's a factor of how do you affect the backside.
Yeah.
How do you affect the free end? Whether you're running the wide zone and you're stabbing at them, or you're running the fly motions, you're running the sift blocks. It's really how many different ways can you affect the backside of
that fly motion works.
And
let me tell you.
And then you mix in a crack block here and there.
Yeah, we don't like that either.
No one likes that on the other side. But it's just a matter of how many different variations can you give that. And in the actual rush game, most tackles need help sometimes, and so that chip game is important. We spent a lot of time teaching it. We spent a lot of time using it. We used it a lot last year, pretty effectively. But you just, as many times as you got to make them play through two people. It also always amazes me, and I see it around the league where like the chip and the tackle aren't on the same page, and actually, the tackle will say, "Hey, man, I didn't know you were coming," or the tackle might set improperly, and some tackles don't like it.
Yeah, some tackles actually don't prefer having the help.
And most of the time, it's not just because they don't need the help; it's because they don't really understand what is happening.
Yes.
And so we detail that chip. I mean, we have, not to give away too much information.
No,
we have calls and techniques, and they know when they're setting versus an outside versus an inside. They have, the whole thing is dialed in. There's not a detail that we miss, so we don't. We're just trying to put ourselves in the best possible situation to handle the rushers, because at the end of the day, the rushers nowadays are so much more athletic and bigger and faster and stronger almost than every tackle. So you got to be able to help the right way.
Yeah, no question. So you when you were in Cincy, I think from 2019, I think y'all are 2-14, and I've been on teams like that, and it can feel hopeless. And then a couple years later, you're in the Super Bowl. Besides the players, what changes?
You got to have the right makeup as a team, and that's the one thing I loved about our team last year. And I mean, even when things got hard, the group of guys they buckled up and they played hard. I mean, there was never any point during the season last year where you could say our team didn't show up to play.
I would agree with that.
And that's I'm proud of that. That's a testament to the type of people we have. And we fought. We were in games, those games that got away from us because we did some dumb things. We turned the ball over too much. There's too many penalties. And so we refocused on all those things over the course of this entire offseason. It's been a huge point of emphasis for us. But the makeup of the team, which is, even in Cincinnati, it was the same way. I mean, we came out of that year knowing that we had the right makeup. We just need to add more players, and I think that's where we're at now. We've added more players. We got the right makeup. This team likes each other. They like being together. They like to compete.
Yeah.
And I know when we go play on Sundays, they're going to play, and they're going to play hard, and we're going to play physical. And look, if we don't win the game, we don't win the game. But if we can eliminate the things that lost us the games over the course of last year, especially the close games, we should be in a much better position.
Well, when you go back and, like, I watch y'all play all year. Like, there's games where it's like, and it's a young team, you're at that stage in the build, but, like, you could make it. It's always powerful when you show a team, you're like, look how close you were to being, 9-8 or 10-7 or whatever it is. Like, I thought y'all pissed Joe Burrow off worse than anybody. You see the Netflix documentary?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He looked mad, didn't he?
He was mad. He was mad for sure. I think.
But there's like, I hate moral victories as much as you do, but like, they demonstrate something about where the team can be.
Yeah, and I think if I felt like the team had any sort of like fracture or tap out or anything like that, that would have been disappointing. But what encourages me for where we're at and where we've grown over the course of a year, and now we're year 2 in all of our systems, and we're year 2 with a lot of our veteran players, is I know what they are. I know what we're going to look like, and I'm really confident in the style of play, and I'm confident in how we play with our systems. And then again, we got to go do it. That's the end all. We got to go show up. But there's a lot of things that I'm encouraged by when it comes to the type of leadership we have, the type of players we have, and then we got to play a better brand of football than we did a year ago, and not lose games. We lost too many games last year, and that's been a pretty strong emphasis for us over the course of the offseason program and training camp.
I want to ask you about working for John Gruden. This is does he really, what time does his alarm go off in the morning? Is he really
that's a real thing. I mean, he gets up early and he's in the office by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing.
No shit.
That's who he is. He's always been that way.
So y'all coaches, man, respectfully, are some of the unhealthiest people on the planet. I mean, like,
I'm working on that.
How many hours of sleep are y'all doing here in this building?
I do try to. I've done it long enough, and I've gotten more efficient over the years. There's just certain things that take time.
Yeah.
And then there's just time on task, and it does require a lot of time. But I have definitely worked really hard at the keeping yourself healthy.
Yeah.
There's something about the right amount of sleep that matters. Because I learned some lessons early in my career too, where you spend 2 nights in the week at the office and you're up till 2 a.m, and you get on the field and you're worthless. You're gassed. You're not thinking.
Yeah.
So, and that's the most important part, right? Being in the meeting room and teaching and being on the field. So, I've certainly adapted how I operate over the years. I'm not a real morning person. I get it. I'm like a 6:30, 6:45 guy, but I can go late if I need to. I can do the nighttime routine, but I try to keep it at least reasonable.
Well, that's good. It's good to hear you're a normal human being at the end of the day, because like Jeff Fisher, he used to do sleep in Thursdays. He'd surprise us with one every now and again, and dudes would go nuts. He'd announce it, and dudes would go nuts because sleep is a weapon. That's what we talk about, like rest and recovery for your team. How do you build out your week late in the season, still trying to get the work done, but get guys kind of back by Sunday? Do you have any like tricks of the trade that you've learned, picked up over the years?
I just think how your week ramps. Wednesdays for us are generally especially by the end of the season, they're almost become walkthrough tempo. And then Thursdays are still like, it's the longer practice. It's a hard day. It's usually when we do our pads. The pads come off at a certain point anyway at that point in the year. Fridays are your traditional kind of fast Friday. And so you have a small undulation in the week as far as ramp up to work, ramp down. Saturday's your walkthrough and you roll. The players, as the year goes on, I try to get them out of the building a little earlier as the weeks go by. So they're hopefully by the end of the year, starting to get dark and all that stuff. And, by 4 o'clock, and you try to get them out in that like 4 o'clock hour before dinner. Keep the mind fresh and keep their bodies fresh. But the rest it's critically important.
No question. I'm glad the coaches today are paying attention to that.
I think even the training camp schedules, the way that we do it, it's not what it used to be.
No.
And I was talking to Morgan Cox the other day. We were giggling about the pre-CBA training camps.
Only a few people know what a 2-a-day was like.
A real 2-a-day. Where we were looking at, he had his old schedule from Baltimore, and it was like the first off day in training camp was after the first preseason game. And that was like, it was like 15 days of 2-a-day pads. And it's almost like, how did these guys even make it out of camp?
I don't know how my dad's generation did it. You know what I mean? Like, it's every generation we get a little smarter. But I wonder if you notice when the pads come off later in the year, is there a group that you have to stay on a little bit more to maintain their technique?
Yeah, I mean the trenches is always going to be
sure.
is always going to be the one, because there is something about the routine of practice and being in pads and the routine of it all. But there's that technique you can't lose, and it's more so like in pass protection and stuff with handles on the pads and strike points and all that stuff that you don't get if you're not wearing the pads. So you got to manage that a little bit. But hopefully by that point you played so much football that you don't have to do as much.
That's
and
it.
Part of it is to the practice. Also goes in like with your install. So if you have a core of something you're good at, you can dress it up, but you're still doing the same things you've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so you don't necessarily have as much mental game planning strain where you can go out and do some things with your eyes closed almost. So
no question.
There's a balance. That's the mix.
The older guys need less, the younger guys need more. Correct. You don't want to it's like a dance. So last thing, when you look at your schedule and it comes out, like what's the first thing you tend to look at as a head coach? And then also this year specifically, what jumped out at you?
The first thing I look for is the short weeks. When's your bye week? When's the short weeks? Where are your stress points? Like, are you playing on a Monday night on the West Coast? Are you playing? You got a long travel. How much travel do you have? Just the logistical stuff first. But then I always just look at the first month. I couldn't tell you who we play in December right now.
Right.
I just don't even.
It
doesn't matter
for us media people.
It doesn't matter. I look at the first month.
Yeah.
And where are you opening, and then what's that first month look like? Because that's where you're trying to find out everything about your team too. Is it, what kind of team do you have, and what kind of challenges are you going to face early? And we faced two really, really stiff challenges at Denver and home against LA just to open the season, and then back that up with two divisional games in the first month. So really excited about it. We're gonna find out who we are real fast, and it's going to be very challenging. But I'm excited about the challenge. That's the fun part. Going on the road to Denver, they got a heck of a team, and then coming back home against the Rams, who are perennially in the playoffs, and seeing Stafford still out there balling is
unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's almost our age.
I know he's
That's
still doing
crazy.
So we
must be the mattress. He's in these mattress commercials.
I got to get that mattress.
Got to get the mattress too. Coach, I appreciate you so much spending time with us. Good luck this year, man. I'm gonna go see that sled in a couple minutes.
I can't wait. Are you gonna film it?
We're gonna film it. We'll send it to you.
I can't wait.
Damn. Not gonna do it again. That was Bertha. Now I'm gonna go to Olga. Olga. Olga's had a long day.
You're right.
I'm even gonna do this, Bill Callahan.